In the past, council has, when they've hired a city manager, they've allowed city employees to be at the table and general employees, and particularly police and fire and the chambers, some of the business groups. But really, this council is elected, as am I, to represent the citizens, and you get too many groups in and the pressure gets to just be unwieldy. It's very hard for them to settle on a candidate with that much pressure. So what we did was kind of the opposite. We asked Whitney Smith, and we did some on our own, to go out and interview each of these groups who has an interest in the city manager before we actually developed all the criteria, to get what police thought was best, to get what fire thought, general employees, to get all the chambers, the Black, the Hispanic, and the downtown chamber, several of the Rotaries, some of the business groups they met with, and just kind of got survey. And then at our town halls, we've been actively asking citizens, what do you want? Where do you want to see the city going? And who do you think, what are the characteristics you think might be best in a city manager to help guide that? We're looking, in an ideal world, the perfect candidate would be somebody who's had some business experience and also some city manager experience at some level. Whether we find the person that's got exactly that, we'll see when we get the resume. Certainly, we want a proven leader, but someone that can also be, with a city this size, Fort Worth's the 16th largest city in the nation now, you've got to have a dynamic person who can drive that change forward, to continue the city, who can own the trajectory that we're on, but who can break down those silos that are between the departments, so make your customer service seamless, somebody that's tech savvy. This is, as you know, what's your readership now online compared to where it was even just a very short time ago? The Fort Worth is way behind on our innovation and our technology piece, and that's going to be critical to us, that we have somebody who understands the technology, the use of technology, and how to connect with our citizens in that method. But they also have to be able to manage a very tight budget, comfortable with asking the employees to stretch, and yet deliver great services. We've just been through, as you're all well aware, the major pension battles. We have a pretty good handle on our pension, despite the fact that fire's just filed suit. We're pretty confident on pension, and we managed this last budget with an incentive package to our employees for their raises to keep expenses down. If they can hit their savings targets, then they'll be eligible for their merit pool in September. And we want somebody else who's in line with that financial piece that we're looking at, because the city's got to deliver services, and we've got to keep our spending and our expenses, our revenue and our expenses equitable, and they've got to be balanced out. It's got to be somebody that's used to dealing with a city that has large urban growth. Major inner city redevelopment is a major issue for us. How do we revitalize all these smaller communities? West 7th's doing great, Magnolia's doing great, North Side's coming along. We simply have to get the Stop 6, the Meadowbrook area, the far west side of Fort Worth. We've got to get those urban core areas back, manage that outland growth, but somebody who also understands, we're asking for Superman, needless to say, or Superwoman, somebody that understands you've got a lot of outland growth in an area like this, that we will have Walsh Ranch with whatever the number is going to be out there, 18 to 20,000 rooftops in the next 5 years. We'll have to manage that growth. We have alliance. Obviously, some of our biggest challenges are mobility. How are we going to address that? And water continues to be an issue that has to be dealt with. And you will see a continued focus on rail and alternative types of mobility. There are some internal and a lot of external. And council is not married to either one. We're going to give everybody a fair interview to try to get the best person. I mentioned that we've been listening to all our stakeholders, and at this point, what Whit's company is doing is interviewing everybody, putting together their bios, putting together their pictures, they're not even really ranking, but they will tell us this one we don't feel as confidently about. And everybody that we pick for this final cut, whether that's, and it won't be the final cut, it's the intermediate cut, whether it's 10 or 15 or however many we settle on in this intermediate cut, they will put through some evaluation. They will do some testing with them and some situational analysis on things before we actually see them. You know, I don't want to comment that no one stacked up, but I think that we felt that the city was owed, the citizens of Fort Worth are owed the opportunity for us to look at a very wide range of candidates, including the internal ones that are there.